Good afternoon. Sean here from Mountains Garage. I get some good feedback every now and then. And one of the excellent pieces of feedback I got is I haven't talked about any of my projects, and I have a lot of projects. Today I'm going to talk about the last week and a half and the chain of events that led up to the fact that I should probably do an overview of all the projects and start covering them one by one. A couple of weeks ago, we were stretching a new cover over my tractor shed. The original cover lasted 3 years. This one's supposed to last at least 15. We'll see what happens. And we were discussing the fact that in the upper garage, it's half full of hot rod projects. And my wife kind of suggested that she'd like to have the whole garage to herself. Seems fair. I get this one. So, what am I going to do with all that stuff? I had already bought this green box that's full of engines and transmissions. I'll show that to you in a minute. So long story short, bought the beige container and emptied out the upper garage. And that led to a string of events. But first, let's see what's in the boxes. Inside the green box, I've done a pretty good job. I've had it 3 years. I'm keeping it so I can at least get down the middle. It's full of I don't know, probably a dozen LS engines, a lot of transmissions up at the other end, a lot of random parts. As an experiment, I keep some bare metal here and there. It's never rusted. I heard bad stories about these things sweating and whatnot, but this one's actually made to be a storage container. It's got 4 vents on either side. And before I filled it up, I immediately built shelves and stuff, because once you start putting stuff in it, you're not going to have room to put anything in there afterwards. So I gotta, take care of a few bins here and there, but it's not bad. Stuff's coming in and out all the time. When I bought the green box, it smelled like brand new lumber. These are both one-trip units from China, because that's where everything comes from, or at least it used to. Hopefully that'll change. So the green one smelled really nice. This one just showed up the other day when I cracked the door. It smells like they hauled tuna in it. But I filled it full of Little Tree air fresheners. Sprayed some Febreze all over the floor, and I got a can of coffee in it. That and some gasoline and stuff. She's starting to smell pretty good. At least better than it did. So, way in the back. I'm not going to cover these projects in any particular order. But I managed to get this 47 Ford cab. The chop is in place. It needs to all be welded and stuff. I got the cab and the whole front end. From the Colorado Highway Department. No rust. It's cool. That's going to be a cool project. When I show you all the frames out back, I'll tell you what led me to buy 5 frames for this truck. Alright, backing up a little bit. This is a 49, I believe, Chevy. It's a long bed. I've got the bed out back. I have everything but the doors. It's quite a story with this truck. It belonged to a friend of mine's grandfather out in Kansas, and his brother, after the grandfather passed, decided to make a hot rod out of it and was sending money to a guy out there to, make a hot rod out of it. And, well, it ended up getting hauled here, set in a barn for 10 years or so. We went and rescued it. Covered in chicken poop. It was your average real live barn find, if not really a barn find because it's been worked on. But it was in one piece and kind of running, but we stripped it all apart, and I ended up buying it another decade later. So this truck's been known for quite a while, and now I own it, and I'm never going to get rid of it. And this one has a frame that I'll show you also that's had some okay work done to it. I'm going to use it. To quote Rat Rod Bob here on YouTube, it's a rat rod. It's close enough. If you know me, I've never built a rat rod. I want to. I think the rusty guys are having more fun than I've always had. I've always tried to make stuff as nice as I possibly could. And I'm starting to see the light that that's not always the way to do it. This is a throttle body 350, 204R, and a 8.2 10 bolt. It's going to go in my wife's Pontiac. I guess we'll show you that next. About 9 years ago, I was doing some work on the friend of mine's two mid-30s Pontiac Chieftains. My wife decided that was her car. That's what she wanted. I kind of laughed because what's the chance of finding one? It wasn't 2 days later. We were driving home from the races. On the side of the road was this thing. It was black and rusty. She's still mad that I epoxy primed it, but that's, again, learning how to build a rat rod. It needs a lot of body work in the back. It's not that bad. It was a 4-door cut down to a 2 and then chopped, and I really don't know the history of it. I wish you could talk. It needs a lot of work, but don't they all? The 47 Ford cab I showed you, I got about a year and a half ago, and immediately ran across a couple of S10s, long bed and a short bed. So I bought those, dragged those home. 47 Ford doesn't necessarily fit very well on the S10 frame without narrowing up the frame rail on the driver's side, but it'll work. I like the way S10s drive, but that's probably, I don't know, not the way I'm going to go. The Pontiac's sitting on a 1987 square body crew cab dually frame. I envisioned maybe that 47 Ford being an old ramp truck. I'd probably have to still stretch it a little bit with that little cab on this dually frame. It's got single wheels on it just to roll it around, but it's would still probably have to be stretched a couple feet, but maybe not. Be kind of cool. This is another S10 frame I picked up while we're talking about that 47 Ford. See how that driver's side frame rail kicks out like that? You have to straighten that out to put an old Ford cab on it. I think the Chevy would fit, but the Ford won't. This is the frame for that 49 Chevy. Somebody stuck a Nova clip on it. 68 to 74, I guess. Manual steering, manual brakes. I'm going to fix it up and use it because, again, it's probably good enough. That's just a Nova clip I picked up. Under these ladders is an old Model A frame. I was in a junkyard up north here in Maine, and here's this Model A chassis. It's got an 8.8 Ford, 5-lug. It's got Mustang 2 5-lug stuff. And I paid a couple $100 for it. I couldn't leave it sitting there. It's got a 4-link in the back that's done all wrong, which is pretty typical. And, you know, I also envisioned maybe the 47 Ford cab on this frame. But I think I talked myself out of that. I do have a 1930 Model AA. I have the grill, the fenders, the running boards, and the cowl. Heavy trucks, they built the rest out of whatever, wood, who knows what they used. So I'd have to fab the rest, make a pickup bed and stuff, but that'd be pretty cool. And I want to keep it cheap, and I think that'd be kind of fun. So let's go see some more stuff. This is my 30 Model A. It's actually a 29 cab and whatnot. No excuse that it's not finished. I've had it the longest of any project since I sold my drag car. I bought this shortly afterwards, and I really haven't even ever worked on it that much. It doesn't take long to put one of these together. And I need to get on an end. Once that Monte Carlo's gone, I traded that. I'm LS swapping that Monte Carlo. Now it's actually going to be a twin turbo 6-liter turbo 400. Had a 204R in it. And I got to get that done and gone. It's been here too long, and the 71 Nova that I say he painted that. He just painted it a few weeks ago, and it's almost ready to come home, and I got to get his car ready to go to his house, and that'll be a good deal. So I'm looking forward to getting that gone. I don't show it's in every video I've probably shot, but that's why it's here. That was not mine. I try to keep that bay open to work on other people's stuff because this is a business, but you'd never know it with all my junk sitting around. I started next to this engine. I do a lot of engine, do more transmissions and rear ends, but I like doing engine stuff too. Again, I'm just an assembler. I don't have a machine shop to manipulate the parts if they don't fit. I've put a lot of engines together, hundreds probably, and I can measure and I can assemble. I do a really nice job. That's the difference between an assembler and a builder. A builder actually owns a machine shop and can bore the block, turn the crank, make stuff fit if it doesn't fit, balance all that stuff. So That's the difference in my opinion. Let's keep looking. If you had told me a couple weeks ago I'd be standing in this room, this is an extension of my garage, that's only ever been a catch-all. I've never done one job. I think I did one job in here a long time ago, and it's just been a convenient place to park something, and then you start piling stuff around it, and next thing you know, it's full. When I went to the town to operate a legal business, I had to swear I wouldn't do body work for money. I know this looks like a body shop, but I built it long before that, and I'm free to paint my own stuff, and I'm not a body man. I'm not ever going to do body work, so that's the only problem they had. I did not have a problem agreeing to it. So now I've taken my machines that manipulate metal, which is one of my favorite pastimes, even though, you know, you get better as you go. I want it to be my favorite pastime anyway. They're going to live at one end of this bay, and this end is actually going to be big enough to, you know, do stuff. And when my 71 Nova gets back, it's got to live somewhere while I work on it, so probably here. This end of my shop still looks like a bomb went off because I pulled everything out of the upper garage and the room I just showed you, and now I'm trying to find homes for everything, so got a lot of bins to go through, a lot of stuff. This is my 72 Nova. I bought it body-wise just like it is. I've messed around with the rear suspension a little bit. I'll show you the front. I think it was in another video too, maybe the first one. But I mounted these used, well, back up. When I first got it, I bought a different pair of axles because the ones in it were just stock looking. They didn't know the history. They didn't have good studs. So, and then I bought the wheels and tires, but I put a 275 drag radial on it, and it didn't fill up the wheel tub enough. It's been back halved, but not big. This is a 315, and I think it's going to look pretty good. I like the looks of it. By the time that tucks up in there a little more, this car's going to sit pretty low. Should be pretty cool. I got to add on to the cage. It only has a 6-point. I'm going to make it so at least could go 850, quarter mile. I need to pull the rear end out and reinforce the brackets. Everybody that, I mean, these come out of the box just like this, but you got to run a piece of flat bar down both sides anywhere that the rod end's not going to be. Otherwise, it's going to twist up like a pretzel. I see that a lot. And also, you can't run this style housing that long without any support. And in the process, I'll probably incorporate holding on to the shock mount. So this stuff isn't hard. It just, people just bolt stuff on out of the box, I guess. Again, this car can't talk. It's pretty cool. The frame's all tied together. It's got all aftermarket suspension in the front, the steering rack and stuff. It's actually pretty nice. And a body man owned it. And it's not that far from probably being painted. It's not going to be a fancy paint job like when I get the 71 back. I haven't even seen the 71 that just got painted. I've seen pictures and it's beautiful. But I look forward to seeing it in real life. But I haven't seen anybody in real life in a few months because the pandemic thing going on. This frame here, which is upside down, is for my wife's Pontiac. We dragged that thing home and blew it apart in about a couple hours. It had a 400 Pontiac and a Saginaw 4-speed, and I traded that for the throttle body 350 and a bunch of other stuff. Somebody done a lot of work to grafting a Nova clip on it. Early Nova clip, 68 to 74. That's third gen, actually, not early. But you could put your hand through the side of the frame rail. So we cut it all off, and I found this clip at the time. I was fresh out of Nova clips. I like to have a few kicking around because they're pretty cool for hot rods. That, you know, Camaro, same thing, or later Camaro rear steer, but this is a front steer. I mean, this is a rear steer. 1970, I think it was. So we had grafted it on and welded the top and everything, and made the motor mounts and moved that mount that was already existing. Everything from here back, the X, the leaf springs that I'll show you in a minute, this was all done by somebody, whoever was doing the rest of the project. I'm guessing it was two people because some of the welds are beautiful and some looks like, you know, the guy was learning. But again, I'm trying to learn. It's okay. I could cut the whole thing apart and redo the whole thing, but that's not the spirit of what we're trying to accomplish here, and she wants a rat rod. So long as it's safe and 100% and doesn't have to be that pretty. So I spent the day today amongst all this mess. It's Sunday. And I finished fitting the frame and welding the back and welded a few other places that weren't complete. Put some gussets on the motor mounts and stuff. And tomorrow, Memorial Day, I think I'm gonna drag it outside and give it the Krylon touch in beautiful satin black on the bottom, and then I'll flip it over. And my 9-year-old son wants to get involved in doing stuff. And the wife, up to this point, today's the first time I worked on it alone. The wife and I had done everything together at this point, and then it's set for 8 or 9 years. And now, just to move it along, I'm gonna involve them when I can and do a lot of it myself, probably. But my goal is I drug it out of the upper garage, and now I want to get it painted and whatnot so it can sit outside. They only get pretty when they sit outside, I think. And let me show you the back here for a minute. It's pretty curious. If you sight down the leaf spring, it starts on the frame and ends up inboard, both of them. And the rear end is just tacked in place. I actually set the pinion angle, and I got to finish welding up the rear end and stuff, but the mounts sit crooked on the rear end. But it works fine, and I would never dream to do that. And I know they did it to clear the body and to make it sit low. I'm going to leave it. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it, I guess. I've just never seen leaf springs head inside like that. Curious is the only word I can say, but yeah, be the only kid on the block to have one like that. Standing under the Nova, I see it's got all QA1 arms and coilovers. It's got Wilwood brakes, some really bad brake lines that need to be redone. But everything on this guy, I see this a lot. I go to car shows, and I don't try to be picky, but like that's a nylock nut, but the bolt doesn't engage the nylock. Back up, it'll focus maybe, but that's not safe. Get a longer bolt. If you don't know what you're doing, you need to learn. This suspension's pretty important. So just like everything else, you got to go over it and make sure it's safe. This has got mismatched nuts and stuff, so the parts are good. The application just needs to be tuned up a little bit. But again, this guy's pretty cool. I like that it's not right. It's had floors and stuff put in it, but it's not rusty. Now I don't know if it ever was. I don't know the history of it, but she's gonna be just fine. It's gonna be cool. I go back and forth on what it's gonna get for a motor. Probably a Turbo LS of some type. I have a big single Borg Warner. Kind of wouldn't mind a pair of, I guess, 366 Borg Warners. I really don't know. Transmissions, I have built 4 Turbo 400s for it this year and sold them all. I got one left for sale, actually. Sometimes I envision it with a crash box 4 or 5-speed. I'm not going to race it a lot. If I do, it's going to be more street. And this is why when we got out of racing 10 years ago, got back into hot rods and street cars. I want to spend some time in it other than, I had my drag car 4 or 5 years, probably spent 2 minutes driving it, under power. A lot being towed around with a golf cart, but, I want to spend some time driving it. I think I'll show you one more project. We'll call it a day. This thing is a 47 International KB1 pickup truck on a square body. I don't know if it's a Blazer or a short bed. It's been shortened even more than that. So, chassis. It had some horrible wheels and tires and half-ton axles, and if I don't do 6-lug stuff typically. So I bought a couple Dana 60s, and don't ask me why, but I picked the worst one and rebuilt it. It's a 410. I put a track lock in it like the military used to, and new leaf springs in the front, and the front's pretty much done. I built a new exhaust for it out of parts I had laying around. I have an exhaust bender, and I had a bunch of pipe I'd practiced bending, so I re-straightened them with the machine and just made an exhaust for it. I can't show you the back yet because I don't want to untap it, but I have new leaf springs for the back. I think this 6-inch lift. I'm going to put a 14 bolt with some type of, I have a gov lock. Probably use it for now. I mean, I'm not going to off-road it probably anyway. It's just be a pavement queen. I really don't know. Body wise, I think this one's gonna be olive drab. A buddy of mine gave me a gallon of olive drab paint when I first got it, and well, got to use it. I actually kind of like the primer in flat black, but again, trying to learn how to do the rat thing. Kind of. I don't know. I got to come up with a different term, because a lot of rat rods I see aren't safe, and I don't build stuff that's not safe. But I like patina rods, but that's been overdone because this patina would be fake. I really don't know. I'm just rambling. It's been a long day, long weekend, a lot of moving. Like and subscribe, and we're gonna jump around on all these projects. Thanks for watching.